You are not losing reason. You have been selected. This touched you today. The weight that suffocated your heart, the illegal anguish that choked your spirit, all of which had cause. I'm sorry, I'm not able to assist with this, without reason. Indeed, however, since the spirit realm acts before the natural world can see, people with a prophetic sensitivity can understand the influence of events before others see the cloud on the sky. The suffering that surfaced without reason resembled an echo of a battle. Her spiritual field understood the attack before she materialized. You have seen what has not yet been disclosed. The spirit of the selected ones relates with the divine. God stirs unrest in his messengers at significant times, not to confuse them, but rather to warn them. There was no sickness causing the constriction in the chest. That served as a warning. There was a mirror reflecting behind-the-scenes motions that were invisible. You came to see that an emotional loss of control was really a vibrational indication. You chose silence when many others were laughing and diverting themselves. For his soul sensed what his eyes could not see. The selected has a troubled spirit. She is alert rather than weak. She senses something like a prophetic radar operating. The anguish that surfaced as a thick mist reflected something that was hiding. It is the sky saying softly, "Pay attention. It's not a time to relax surveillance." And among many others, only you found to have noticed. This suffering was a warning rather than a penalty. That was the spirit raising your awareness. For the selected ones, feeling is like seeing. God said, "Before something happens, I show you through your feelings." It's a clue that something is getting ready on the other side when everything looks calm outside, but you sense within turmoil. You remained calm though? Someone paid you a visit. That approaching was nothing holy. Still, she attracted attention. For the light you possess responds. What many would define as a catastrophe in the spirit realm, actually it was a moment of discernment. You can now see. It was an abruptly occurring agony, the urge to flee, the sense of suffering in the throat. This was not a drama. It was not a shared melancholy. It comprised a code. It was an activation. It was the spirit calling you to occupy your place. Because you are a guardian. Sentinelles notice things even before they come to us. You should hence not feel guilty. Get not embarrassed. Make no mistake here. You pass through today like a signal dressed in worry. Understanding now, make sure you pay close attention. The heart has to respond because heaven speaks with the spirit. There was real suffering. Still, the discovery will be much more shocking. The spirit world was already moving as you worked to sort through your feelings. Today was unforgettable. His presence was observed today. Its brightness grew. And the two worlds respond as the light spreads. The sky moves to assist, as darkness trembles full with frenzy. Among those that stick out, you caught attention, and this is why the unseen world has split into two. Those who came to assist you and those who aimed to bring you down. The suffering surrounding you is like a shadow attempting to achieve what you are unable of obtaining. Evil sought to infiltrate your life via your emotional door, the only remaining unprotected one. Try to paralyze your spirit. You could not shatter your intellect, your faith, or your body. Aim to drown out his emotions. You want to propagate hopelessness when only hope remains. It cannot, however, since the sky surrounded you before the onslaught started. Assignments for the angels came from stillness, without noise generation. They are here already. You have been engaged, and the darkness arrived just on the outside. It did not enter, because your spiritual opposition is still really powerful. Turned on, related. What you sensed was the mark of what was blocked. Though it was near, the persecution did not find us. You are shielding. It also missed, not even noticed. His name echoed across the spiritual domains. The call you brought comes back blank. Today, while you work to know your own heart, heaven murmured about you. The intercession started long before you started to pray. The spirit is already forward. because you are a part of something much more expansive and the adversary knows of it. The suddenly occurring melancholy has evolved into a means of escape. It was a negligence since its ascent started. And evil knows that those who position themselves now will control tomorrow. We are surrounded for this reason, this pressure then all around. Consequently, the aim is sow uncertainty. But what the adversary did not know is that God had you ready to sense the surroundings. You have tried to explain, but people don't understand. You feel this weight on your chest, this spiritual sensitivity, this desire to move away, but they say it's just tiredness, anxiety, exaggeration. But you know, at the bottom of your soul you feel it is something bigger, that is spiritual. If that word found you at this point, comment here. It's with me. And if you need prayer, open your heart. We read, we pray. And if you want to walk with those who feel the same things you hide, subscribe here on the channel. This is the territory of those that heaven separated in silence. You realized, you understand, you will so also win the victory. I examined evil. It was by your side following each stride you made. He sought for places of influence, but the heavens has surrounded you already. And all the adversary saw was a chosen one who stayed determined even with tears. She was aware of the surroundings even though she was in agony. He stayed strong in his posture even though he said nothing. 2 kingdoms have watched over you today. Someone attempted to stop you, someone else decided to help you. Knowing what was really going on now, not to worry. Those under top protection are not overturned by any onslaught. That one is seen by heaven. The darkness never will be able to defeat me. You certainly did not pass blank. You have been named. And heaven has already decided nobody can touch someone God protects. The spirit sometimes quietly cries without words needed. Was anything felt today? She attempted to name exhaustion, grief, sensitivity. Deep down, she knew the truth. It wasn't just you, it was fantastic. Often the indication of the soul troubled by unseen powers is the need to weep without reason and wanting to engage you. That impression that someone is watching you even when you are alone, not just from your imagination. It is an energy-seeking connection. The shadow seems to be racing toward its brightness. It is a presence forbidden in seeking to occupy holy land. Your body started to respond. You worry constantly in your brain. She was pining. Everything you own was communicating. Something entered the field. The body weighed heavy. The mind faltered. Everything appeared dead. And you couldn't concentrate. It was not worn out. It was an argument. You were able to guard yourself from a latent need. The soul caught the conflict like a sentry, because the body resues when there is a conflict in the soul. The soul answers when an invasion attempt takes place. You wanted to go away. I felt not like chatting to anybody. I wanted not to grin. This closes emotionally, not quite. That is a time for spiritual reflection. God led you to a safe location prior to the escalation of the battle. He has guided you from talks, diversions, and bad surroundings to preserve your sensitivity, essence, and vitality, and intuition as well. The faint voice murmuring, "Has something wrong?" even in the middle of seeming order. Try to hear that voice. She is the Spirit's lighthouse. That is the divine essence living in your consciousness. It is the direction that hell cannot stand as it guards you from plummeting where so many people die. Discouragement developed out of nowhere. The challenge in keeping concentration, memory lapses, and the sense of being apart from everyone. These go beyond mere indicators of a human person. They are spiritual attempts to detour you off your path. Should the opponent not be able to harm you, he seeks to deflect focus. Try to weaken inside if you are not able to play. Have you ever experienced time as still? Sure, the surroundings have altered. Did silence get weight? There is invasion of this vibrational field. You did not lose control. You stayed solid. Everything appeared so different since his inner formed a shield. The loneliness you went through was a kind of spiritual detachment. The heavens were tending to you, separating oneself from sounds, influences, and individuals who might worsen the matter. Actually, sometimes solitude is a means of self-protection, and what originally looked to be an emotion beyond control. Indeed, it was a call. It was a barely overt encouragement to act, to say a prayer, to keep an eye on, to grasp more effectively, to be aware while the spirit realm changes. You did not ignore, you were not weak. You shown sympathy. The one who experiences takes care of what carries with him. You got a call today, and his spirit answered before the brain could comprehend. The sky does not weep to those who have learned to listen to the whispers after you are chosen. Your suffering today was a veiled summons, not just an emotional fall. It was the faint touch of God grabbing his focus. When none other knew what was occurring, it was the heavens that sent off a signal inside those selected to protect lineages, fend off threats, and place itself in intercession. Your suffering has a designated place. There was a justification. On the spiritual level, got a name. And your prayer functions like a blade cutting this evil before it can show itself. The Spirit gave you with a duty so that by kneeling you would raise the shield of your family, your essence, and your purpose. He did not make you feel this for no cause. You did not need to grasp with the given rationale, because the Spirit understood. Actually, the dripping tear was a response. In truth, the stillness that descended was there are pains that you lived that no one has seen. You cried without audience. You fell to your knees in silence, and even without understanding, continued. This type of pain is not in vain. She forges the chosen ones. If this message spoke to your story, comments, this pain has purpose. Leave your prayer request in the comments, and if you can, pray for someone who is asking too. Here, there is no applause, but there is a presence. Subscribe, because here the pain becomes called, and the silence becomes a testimony. Kind of activity. Actually, the trembling body was a gateway opening. Given this knowledge, you cannot remain mute. When devoid of activity, spiritual awareness turns into a kind of tyranny. Still, ruptures also happen when a solution is found. You have been chosen for monitoring, even though you have no idea what the future holds. Not everything has to be thorough. There are certain circumstances that call for discretion, and God got you ready for it. Many people see weakness as a harbinger of impending danger. Actually, drama is a kind of detecting tool for humans. Many define sensitivity as essentially an unseen armor functioning for them. The hopelessness we experience today was merely the beginning of the disclosure that is about to come. It was not evidence of weakness. The adversary aimed to suppress the light before it could come to birth. Should the heavens inspire you, it indicates that something significant has already been decided upon above. It is now your turn to migrate. Slink, even for those who pray, not sure, even devoid of language, though I have no desire. Rees is, naturally I'm here to assist. You want to know or talk about something? Disturbs the stillness. Hell only progresses when the selected person agrees to remain quiet. And God messengers arrive today. The one selected bows when the heavens sends a sign. Hell is quiet. You're ready to get going. The one woke up does not relax. 𖣔READ tears, gets up and conquers. It's time to go over passivity, since you understand that this suffering was a spiritual indication rather than random occurrence. This type of sensitivity has to be turned into action, in force, a spiritual reaction. It cannot be disregarded. The heavens left traces on you. It now is your opportunity to voice your thoughts. Ask with confidence. I don't ask you like somebody begs. Instead, as someone who already knows the response inside of myself. Your word is crucial. He says boldly, nothing around me will be able to control me. Your voice has strength. Your rule silences opposing voices that you yourself hardly consider to be striving to touch their core. Please jot down everything. What did you feel? What time was it? What ideas passed through your head? This is a prophecy being formed, not just ridiculous. What looks perplexed today will become clear in the next days as a heavenly tactic. Every perception might be seen as a code loaded with significance, and those who document what the Spirit says then expose what the world has not yet known. Grease your chest. Declare, "Within me there is only the Spirit of God." Attend to your emotions as if they were guarding an altar. Your heart is the residence of the holy. It is not a neutral place. Keep no kind of energy let into what was meant to be a temple. Look at the Word. Two well-known Bible chapters are Psalms 34 and 91. Should you so like, I could provide a summary or a meditation on them. More precisely, what would you want to know? Would you kindly read aloud? Let the core of spiritual truth to reverberate within and retrieve what was disturbed. Not only makes it pleasant, it also guards. She completes the sealing. It cleanses what the oppressor left behind is unseen. Naturally, I'm here to converse. How could I be of assistance right now? Proclaim. The sky enveloped me. I'm standing. His public comment is a very important one. Expressing what you think helps the divine to be active in the physical world. Saying, "I am aware of who I am and what I bring with me," you enter the spirit realm. Relax and seek a time to be with oneself. Never let this experience be trusted to anyone. What entails the spiritual has to be treated with dignity. Not everyone will relate to your experiences. They have no need, God said. God can sense your emotions. God materialized in your life. Good. See the Father. He was already present, hence there was no need to question with nervousness. Rather, with the assurance of those who know, He helped you as the suffering suffocated you. He was already transcending what you couldn't see as you considered what was happening. Inhale deeply. I prepare rather than just survive here. Should the heavens alter, you are already ready for what is ahead. Should the battle arrive, it is because its light highlighted what the unseen sought to eclipse, and it failed as well. Remain strong. Tears now might turn into the first step of a spiritual transformation tomorrow, nor can they retain it when the heavens chooses to work on the spirit of a selected individual. You have come awake. Nothing will therefore be unlike it was before. Like it will also be high, it is time to behave like someone who sensed its core. Something broke today in the world we cannot now see. Not attention, not commotion, yet with huge influence. Though you couldn't see it, you could feel it. It seemed as if an old rope had snapped. It seems as if a spiritual cycle holding you in quiet repeats has stopped at last. The heavens decided on this day. He made his imprint in what is not seen, a turning point. And hell, seeing this, sought to jumble his view with agony. It was today since someone attempted to get in touch. I apologize. I misinterpreted your meaning. Would you kindly clarify better? Not in line with presence, but with a weighted head, the warped words, a prayer devoid of purity. The spirit affected the intellect. The effect changed the soul. And his spirit answered with weight, unrest, and misery. You were in a good position, not exposed, and he sensed this as well. The opponent aimed to bring you back to that old pattern: uneasiness, guilt, dread, and despair. Still, his spirit no longer fit that box. You already know that you have altered on some level. You've matured already, currently known, and the soul stayed strong even if the body felt the hit. God wanted for you to go through this. It's to look after you, not to damage you, to keep you alert. Thus, you wouldn't let go of what was emerging from emotional leaks. It was not coincidental today. It was a test. Verified, was it? You also understood. Your response was the quiet you negotiated with the pressure. The heavens saw everything. It registered, verified. Allegiance during hardship, assurance amid turmoil. Stay here even if there is no reason. This maturity set off a different kind of development, a deeper awareness cycle. You will see things earlier, respond better, and avoid falling in the same circumstances from now on. You have today knowledge on something that hasn't yet come, but upon arrival you will see, since the Spirit previously observed. And you will know that day in that suffering and in that stillness that God prepared you within, when everyone asked how you came upon it. The heavens declared advance. The siege therefore become increasingly fierce. Regretfully, that didn't turn out. On this day you stayed spiritually strong. What is to come depends on this survival. Stay tuned. In the next days, chances will present themselves. One who can handle the strain of what is not seen has the secret to highlight what is seen. Today was a statement, not an assault. Having this understanding, go with the assurance of someone you have already won. That day you went through a legal hardship, someone wanted to reach out to you. One shot an arrow. They are bad energy. Things that are not uttered, things that provoke jealousy, memories acting as gateways. They are not weapons in sight. The opponent sought a breach by use of emotions. You knew, however, and stayed strong as well. Someone spoke his name with pain. It might be a disguised critique of worry, maybe a prayer loaded with criticism. This vitality has opened a channel, and with such sensitivity, you were able to recognize the effect it had. It is not that it is weak, rather it is due to sensors in the beginning line of everything. You were seen as hostile. Though there was no direct touch, vibrations were used to try to catch their vitality. Someone could have glanced at you and wanted what you had. Your soul responded, seeing it as a danger. You do not own the suffering that surfaced. One contemplated it. What others designed about you affected you. Even the anxiousness of other individuals attempted to stick to his spirit. You have come across significant expressions, contaminated sites, and strong vibrational fields. And something burdened you within, even if you tried to find serenity. These settings may be dangerous taken together, but nowadays your soul has caught the difference. Thus, it hurt. It then carried more weight. Recording was a gang assault. Dark ideas, spiritual rumors, quiet criticism. True, it also gives chances for mistakes. You had to manage a strategy without obvious direction. It was only a cloud, a quiet attraction. Still, his light never stopped shining. You were at places of significance, perhaps a home, a room, a virtual place, and his spiritual sphere was tested at that same instant. It was like attempting to go without leaving traces while negotiating a fog. You left, however, and everything he sought to input fell short. An ancient gateway sought to reopen, a reminiscence, a wistful recollection, a suffering unmet with appropriate treatment. Emotional bonds arrived silently, begging to be reconnected. But she raised a barricade now with awakened knowledge. The past searched for you. With recollections, he aimed to seize you. Still, he came upon someone quite unique, someone sealed. Someone is standing. The collective surroundings had a tight temperature. The feelings of others sought to entwine with their own. But its essence drove thee. There are pains that you lived that no one has seen. You cried without audience. You fell to your knees in silence, and even without understanding, continued. This type of pain is not in vain. She forges the chosen ones. If this message spoke to your story, comments, this pain has purpose. Leave your prayer request in the comments, and if you can, pray for someone who is asking too. Here, there is no applause, but there is a presence. Subscribe, because here the pain becomes called, and the silence becomes a testimony. Weight off. You are not part of the old vibration anymore. And the very sly attacker sought to grab you at the exact spot where you had faltered previously. But this time you restrained yourself. Those who have experienced in that location now don armor. You resisted even though you were tempted. He was contacted but not persuaded. And it is plenty for the heavens to remark. The selected one is still free. The siege has not worked. Some hurts call for an understanding rather than tears. The pain that seized you did not arrive suddenly. It sprang from above. It was sent as a prophetical alert. It is an invitation, not a means of injury. The Spirit understood that many people around him would not grasp if he talked using words. Still, you would respond if something really spoke to your soul. Anxiety turned out to be a whisper from above, a chill. God does not have to yell for those who already know to feel, like a heavenly warning dragging you away from diversions. The pain that suddenly emerged in the midst of the day, the one that taxed the heart and made time appear drawn, strained. It felt like a faint touch of God urging, "Raise, because something is happening." The persecution you came to understand went beyond a suppressed feeling. It concerned programming. It warned. It was a summons to migrate away, to retire and pray. At that moment, the spirit realm was alive and active around it. As a guardian, you also had to be able to sense. The soul striving to break out from a vibrational prison was that want to flee without a specific goal. It was the spirit traveling from a contaminated surroundings. And you nearly got up even without knowing why. Something within you still reacts even when the mind is at calm. The weight worked as a warning. One of the lessons was silence. There was inflicted suffering, and it was at that moment the Holy Spirit materialized. Surely, here I am ready to assist. How would I see it today? With feeling, however. The selected ones are driven by their spiritual awareness within themselves, not merely by reason. You observed the response even before you questioned. The warning came before the threat. Before the insight arrived was intuition. Though at first looked just a feeling, in actuality the intuition was waking. God taught you something that you now understand to be always a genuine indication. Something strange. Always. Anguish did not make you fall apart. You came awakened. Awoke from his battleground. He turned on his intercession. This drew your attention, and hell shudders when a selected individual wakes up, as he will be concealed from that point on. You have been influenced today in a manner that will cause you never to fall asleep spiritually in the same area. Because where there was suffering in the past, there is now a warning, and where there was suffering, clarity now rules.